Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Chris. We're here live at the Job Tread Connect 2026. We're at the Steve Rozenberg Group booth, the only booth that has a podcast. So I'm taking advantage of using the equipment. And I got my friend Casey Fabling from Colorado.
Yes, sir.
We've known each other for, 4 years now?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, just, within Steve's group, got to know each other. We've been sharing some resources and collaborating a lot on different things. And you've been through things in life that has helped me out, with what you've been going through in life. And so we've gotten really close in the last several years. So anyway, we've been talking about having a podcast for a while.
I know it.
Finally, we have it.
We're sitting across the room from each other, instead of being in different states.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot better that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people in the Steve Rosen group know who you are, your background and things. So just kind of high level, who are you and what do you do, where are you at?
Yeah, so I'm a remodeling contractor in South Denver, Colorado. I grew up in Virginia. I had a business that I grew and met Steve back in 2020, and he helped me grow from like 3 million to almost 10 million in 2 years. And we skyrocketed. Unfortunately, things shifted in the market. I was over leveraged into areas that were reno refis and HELOCs. And so when rates spiked end of 22, my entire pipeline dissolved, just gone. And we were carrying my overhead was about $350 a month.
Damn.
And so it was a pretty dramatic fall. We were able to hold on for a little while, and we were just kind of limping along, but we finally dropped it out. Steve was somebody who was there, so I'm saying Steve Rozenberg, I was part of his group, and himself, you and I stayed in touch a lot through that.
Yeah.
When you go through something like that, you lose a lot of people, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so you and I stayed friends through that.
Yeah.
We chose to relocate to Denver. Where we live wasn't a very big town. It was a city, but it just wasn't that big, and it just was kind of messy. So we chose to relocate to Denver. I've got 4 kids. Okay. So my wife and I, we moved and started fresh. It took a while to figure out what, I kind of was like, do I really want to do this again?
Yeah.
I worked for a roofer for a while and just did some stuff. And, going through bankruptcy, that's a part-time job too. So it took me about 8 months to just kind of go through that process.
Yeah.
So started a new company in Colorado and really started it in earnest in May of 24. Okay. So last year was my first full year.
Okay.
But I took a lot of the things that I learned from the last time and said I want to do it differently.
Yeah.
Previously I was just a chuck in a truck, and the last business I started, I didn't even own a truck when I started it.
Yeah.
I strapped a ladder on top of my car.
Wow.
This time around, I changed how I approach things, and I said, okay, now I have some idea of what that goal is that I want, and I kind of built it out, hired virtual assistants. We're going to talk about that. But, what was really important to me was that first time, my family came dead last for years.
Right.
I was just like, well, one day, when they're babies, they don't know. Yeah. They don't remember, and I use that as an excuse for working too much.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. Now they're teenagers and almost teenagers. I can't do that again.
Yeah. My son is going to be a senior next year.
Wow.
He's going to be turning 18, and it's hitting me now. Like,
shit.
Shoot, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
Is he going to hang out at home? Kind of hope so. I want to hang out with him more, but he's got to live his life, and if he chooses life somewhere else,
right?
Shit, I got to take advantage of now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, and there's something that, especially over the last couple of years, the people who have stayed in my life are the people who have the same core values, the same, the same purpose.
Right.
The same. There's something that there's a core value of mine called give a shit.
Yeah.
And it's something that kind of looks down to like whatever I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm going to do it with some attention and focus and gusto.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a shit about it.
Yeah.
And one thing I appreciate about you is your boys have always been something. Well, I'm going to make these decisions, and I'm going to make sure I'm really clear on how this affects my relationship with my boys.
Yeah.
And so that's something I've always appreciated about you.
Well, thanks, man.
And that's something how I've watched you grow your business and change and make different decisions. That's affected me as well. So again, it's something that you and I have always had in common.
Yeah, exactly. I want to go back to all right, post Virginia. Yeah. Going into Colorado. I'm just kind of putting my personal mindset in that scenario, and I might be thinking, all right, I'm not going to do that again. I'm just going to get a job and play it safe because I don't want to put myself. Yeah. So tell me, why did you go back to starting a company again?
I mean, part of it, I tried. So it's interesting. I've been self-employed, or owned a company for about 15 years.
Yeah.
And so the idea, just even trying to get a job, man, you want to find out how unmarketable you are, go to some freaking interviews and realize they're asking you to do the same thing every day I mean, just the idea of like, wait, you're going to tell me when I can have lunch?
Yeah.
And I think some of that, I tried really hard to get a job. I swear I did. There was this Steve Rozenberg connected me. There's a friend of his that connected to me to a builder, Pete Newbig is the one who connected me. Good friend of yours.
Yep.
Connected me to a builder in Denver, and I could not get past the gatekeepers.
Okay.
And so I showed up on December 29th because I knew the CEO would be there closing out books and there wouldn't be anybody else. Yeah. And I showed up and he was there. And I said, look, I really want to work for you. Yeah. Like this is, and I said, Pete told me to come talk to you. And so we had that connection. Yeah. We had a great conversation, but ultimately, and Pete told me, Pete's like, look, you absolutely can go work for this guy. Yeah. You're not going to love it. You're going to hate it. Yeah. And again, I think Vince just saw that a little bit. And I really just need a guy to go do a job, not to come in with all this ideas and energy. Yeah.
That's what I love about Pete. He's very honest.
Super honest. Yeah. Here's my recommendation. Yes, you asked me for a recommendation. Here you go. Yeah. And I'm going to be real fucking honest with you right now, bud. I love that about Pete. And Pete and I don't know each other well.
Yeah. He's like that with everyone, man.
That's awesome.
He and I go on walks, and we'll talk about everything because these walks are like 2 hours long. And, once a week we'll meet up.
That's awesome.
And there's times where I'm talking to him, he goes, all right, you're acting like a victim now. So is that who you want to be?
Yeah.
I'm like,
nope.
Pete, can we just go back home now? I don't want to hear this right now. But, he does it in love. Yeah. He really cares. He really cares.
100%.
Yeah.
And that goes back to that core values of like, once you're fit, you take fitness seriously. You take your finances seriously. You take your time, your attention, all these things. Yeah. I do that as well, and whether you're being in a relationship, building a relationship, or ending relationship with whoever's in your life, you're intentional about that. Yeah, and those are the kind of people that I have. The more I have chosen that, that's happening in my family. That's happening in my business relationships, my friendships. Mm-hmm. It's there's people, subcontractors who are just like, too much, dude. I'm not willing to hold to that standard. Yeah. And they're gone. Yeah. And then immediately, the ones who want to hold that standard are coming in. Yep. Exactly. Yep. And it's so cool because you find yourself that, hey, the people who are within close proximity to me, they're people who I can actually trust. And I can actually ask a question, and they're going to respond with a real answer. Yeah, exactly.
So let's touch a little bit more on business, and I want to go into just personal life.
For sure.
So you touched a little bit on virtual assistants earlier.
Yeah.
Something that you and I have in common. We collaborate a lot on it. We share resources. So how did you get into virtual assistants, and how has that changed your business?
Yeah, so I originally hired my first executive assistant after working with Steve for a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm the type of person who, Steve tells me to do something, I just go do it, you know? And so when I joined his coaching back in 2020, he said, you need a personal assistant, and we did a time assessment, and I found I was just wasting a lot of time driving. Yeah. So I took someone off my team, and I was like, hey, you're my driver now.
That's great.
So, but like, you go do something, that doesn't mean I did it well.
Yeah.
That first executive assistant, I worked with him. I worked with him for about 9 months, and just kind of kept taking responsibility for the lack of results. Like, I must not be giving you the right information, whatever.
Been there. Yeah.
And you were telling me about your great assistant, and Steve's always, raving about Daniela, and so I said, all right, well, let's try somebody else. And the next person, great fit.
Yeah.
What I've learned through that process, and whenever I tell somebody, hey, you're going to, go hire a virtual assistant, whenever I tell them that, I say, if it's not a great fit within like 2 days, if you're not getting wow, this is amazing in 2-3 days, or if you hit that point in 2 weeks, hire somebody else. And so I've even adopted kind of like the hire fast, fire faster kind of role, but so that was my process of bringing on my first virtual assistant. And at the height of my last business, we had like 15 or so who worked for us. When I started this new business, I started, like I said, I really started in earnest in May of 24. I hired a virtual office manager in September, like last week of August. 2 weeks later, I hired a virtual project manager. 2 weeks after that, I hired a virtual marketing manager. And then I hired a different one 3 months after that. And so just I knew that, okay, I can't grow the business by myself again. I've got to be able to delegate and build, because out of everything that needs to be done in a business, not all of those things are high value. Are things that are either adding to the top line or the bottom line.
How many do you have now?
4. We just hired a 4th one. The reason, and we haven't hit the $1 million mark. We hit 820 last year. So first full year in business, we did 820.
Nice.
And we hired a 4th one because myself, my office manager, and my project manager, we were all kind of task heavy. And so I said, and I talked to my office manager about it for months before she finally said, okay, let's do it. I said, we really need to get these tasks off of us, because none of us are focused on higher level planning right now. And so we just hired somebody, and I put her responsible for it. I did the last 2 interviews, but I interviewed the last 2 people. And I'd love to hire the second person too.
No, that happens a lot, right?
But she did a great job, and she's onboarding this person, and so the purpose is like looking at the big picture of, we want to take care of all these little tasks that people are doing and move that to the new person, which will help make the clients have a better experience, but also be able to move the 3 people who, myself and the other 2 people, they've been with me for over a year. I need to take that year-long plus investment and say, okay, we need to start building and putting trust in you.
Exactly. So, all right, you're good at building a team. You're good at finding people. You're good at giving out and delegating tasks. What are you doing for culture and maintaining culture to build that relationship with a virtual team member? Because it's very difficult.
It is.
Building that trust with that person and just creating that environment where they actually want to come to work.
Great question. And you're asking that question because you know that there's 2 things I see, and I did this with virtual team members. The first one, I just delegate, task, and I just told them what to do all the time, and I kind of treat them like I treat ChatGPT. I don't think about when I'm not thinking about. The other side is, you've got people who don't know what to do. They're not really giving them stuff to do, and they're just like, well, I just kind of got them if I need them, or it's just, and they almost look at them as a lower value person, member. You know what I mean? It's just, it's that, I'm treating like a tool or I'm treating you like you're not a full person.
Yeah.
So, and I'm guilty of both. I've been guilty of both.
Sure.
What we do is every week, and I actually walked out of the session to do it today. Every week we do just a 20-minute phone call.
Okay.
It's not EOS or anything. We just sit there and we just talk about what we're doing.
Yeah.
We use that as an opportunity to ask questions.
Yeah.
Everybody gives a little update about kind of their area.
Okay. Cool.
But it just gives us all a chance to be.
Yeah.
I use Slack for my internal communication.
Okay.
And now we use the huddle quite a bit. Like if we're working on something, I'll just, boom, hit it, start a huddle or whatever, and then 3 or 4 of us will jump on and talk about something, work through it and just be humans.
Yeah.
One other thing, and this is the last thing I'm going to say that I actually learned, I've done before, but Steve reminded me at Mach 5, at his Mach 5 event, is I sat with each of my team members, the virtual team members, and I said, I want to know your goals. I want to know a personal, a professional, and a financial goal.
Good.
And I did, and I sat down with them, and it was about a 20-minute meeting.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to do it again in the next week or so.
Good.
So quarterly.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to make sure that every decision I'm making, and when I set goals and I set parameters for what I want for the business, that those align with helping you, support you to meet your goals. And
exactly.
And I'm telling you, that was a game changer.
Nice.
Where I noticed there was a before and after that conversation for every one of my team members.
That. I'll be honest. I've got a good relationship with my team. We do great things to get to know each other.
Yeah.
But I don't do that. I don't say, well, what are your goals and how can we get you there? I think that's probably the missing link in what I do with my company, with my team.
It was a 15, 20-minute talk.
Yeah.
And what I did is I told them in the weekly meeting, I said, this is what I want to do with everybody.
Yeah.
Each of you. Yeah. So we're going to schedule this over the next week.
Nice.
And I told them we're going to cap it at 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I set the table. I set the expectation. I said, you are... this is your meeting. This is your time.
Yeah.
I kind of pre-qualified each of them. I said, I recognize that my role in this organization is to help make your life better as much as I can. And I recognize that I have a lot of information. I have a lot of tools that I can use to help.
Right. Yeah.
I'm in these groups with Steve. I've learned a ton from you. I've learned a ton from so many people. And just even finding that there were so many things, like one of the people on my team, he wants to own property.
Nice.
Investment property. Wow.
That's cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Now I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my team, she planned to buy a house. And so just knowing that, it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
So now it's not just I'm thinking, okay, she's doing her job. Now I'm thinking, is there an opportunity for her to take on more responsibility or whatever, or keeps me more mindful of the value she brings my team, creates opportunities for her to buy her house sooner.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, so set the table, and I just said, it's whatever you're willing to share. I'm not going to probe any deeper than you're comfortable with. Right. I really want to make sure you're comfortable. And all 3 of them were very vulnerable, and I was really impressed.
That's great, man. That's really good. Let's switch over to family real quick, or personal life, because earlier we were talking about the why. And obviously, as entrepreneurs, like I was telling someone yesterday that the reason why one of the main reasons why I enjoy owning a business is that I have control over my calendar. So
more or less.
Yeah, I mean, you're busy a lot, right?
Yeah.
But you could say, I'm not going to have that meeting at 4 o'clock because I'm picking up my boys from school.
Exactly.
I'm not doing it on Tuesday night because I got soccer practice, right? Like you said, nobody's telling me what I can or cannot do. I'm just moving the business around my personal life.
Right.
So, first of all, you shared your story about Virginia, what happened out there. That could put a big strain on a relationship.
Very much.
So, I don't know if you want to get into it or not, but I'm really curious. How did you and your wife really stay close and tight during that very tough situation?
It was hard. We fought for it. And there was about a year where multiple times both of us were like in, out, trying to figure it out.
Right.
It was very hard.
Yeah.
And I think part of it like I've got to give her more credit than even I can, because there was about a year where, like, after it happened, it cut my nuts off. Like I really didn't have much. I was angry. I was sad. I was depressed. I was trying to fight. I had everything coming out. I didn't know what to do. Everything. And because of the way we had both our names were in the business, both our names were on everything, we lost everything. It was a complete wipeout from, net worth of $2 million plus to very negative net worth. And lost, no credit cards, cash basis, we're just scraping by.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
And I give her more credit because I ultimately she chose, there's the heart of staying with you and there's the heart of leaving you. I'm going to choose to stay. Yeah. And so repeatedly she made the choice to stay.
Yeah.
And I did the best I could to not give her a reason to leave. And it was hard, man.
Yeah.
And I have kids that are, something that was really painful for me was there was we're talking family.
Right.
The reason I'm a contractor of what you just said, I can be present. Yeah. To the degree that I choose to.
Yeah.
I grew up. My dad was a computer guy in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah. He was always gone. He was always at working, doing these things, trying to build these systems, whatever. Yeah. And I saw my best friend's dad. He was a contractor, and he was around. He was covered in cow shit and dust and sawdust, dirt and sawdust a lot, but he was present. He was around. Yeah. And it's not to say my dad was never around. I just there's a lot of memories looking back. It's like, oh, Tony was around. Yeah. Tony was there. Tony had some control over his schedule to be present in his kids' lives and vice versa. Yeah. And so subconsciously, that's something I wanted. Yeah. When I was 14, my dad took a contract that he was gone for years. Like, he was pretty much gone for years. We only saw him on the weekend. Yeah. And he was tired, so we really didn't see him much on the weekend.
Right.
The business failed, and my oldest was 14. Yeah. And I was like, shit. This is a pattern repeating itself. I'm going to have to go away, and I just chose not to. I just said, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to be as present as I possibly can.
That's great.
And sometimes I didn't have a lot to give, and I'd be curious to ask them what their opinion is of me of that time. But
it will be interesting when they get older and they reflect back and they can be open and honest with their observations.
But I hope they can see what it looks like for their dad their parents to go through some deep shit and to fight for each other, to fight for something on the other side, to fight to repair relationships.
Right. Yeah.
So that's when I started this company again. I said I'm going to. I might miss a few meals, but I try to communicate the best I can.
Sure.
I'm here in Dallas right now. I called one of my boys this morning because I knew he was walking to the bus.
Yeah.
Just try to do touch points.
Yeah.
And try to repair. That's another thing I'm learning about is repairing relationships is way more important than, yes, try not to fuck up your life, your relationship with your kids or your wife. Yeah. But, the people around you. But, if you and I have a conversation that doesn't end well, I'm going to come back to you and say, look, I could have handled that differently. I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we've had miscommunications in the past. Where we're like, hey, what did you mean by that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I realize it's deeper with the kids and it's deeper with the people who you're close to. Yeah. But practicing that in that space as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
That's been one of the most important because, in construction, it's high pressure, and sometimes you come home and you're still holding on to that.
Yep.
Find that way to repair and while you're at it, to say, okay, well, how can I make sure I don't bring that shit home? Yeah. There's two sides.
One thing I remember Phil Kornacek at Mod 5 mentioned, he told a story about his daughter putting diesel into a gasoline engine.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, do I want to respond the way I want to respond, or do I want to respond in the way the dad I want to be responds?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And where's that break? That break didn't exist 10 years ago, I bet. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's another thing. Just recognizing and giving grace for the fact that I'm 40 now.
Yeah.
I didn't have this emotional, regulation and emotional maturity 5 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Me
10
too.
years ago.
Yeah. Me too.
And the reason I have it now is because my fucking teeth got kicked in a few times, you know,
Yeah.
or I had to sit with myself, you idiot.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and so like I've developed some of this strength, but
yeah, and I've been mindful of my own reactions too. Like,
of course,
you know, I drove up here on, I don't know what day it was, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I stopped at Buc-ee's, which is about an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
I get over here and I'm like, I can't find my wallet.
Uh-oh.
And, you know, the normal emotional reaction would be getting all pissed off.
Right.
But I'm telling myself, well, getting pissed off is not going to find my wallet right now.
Right.
And because I was able to remain calm, I canceled all my cards. And then I'm like, you know, I'm just going to check one more time before I get pissed off.
Right.
So clear mind, go back to my truck, found my wallet.
There you go.
And I'm like, you know, if I was really pissed off and just flying off the handle, my wallet would have been in my truck for the next 6 months.
Exactly.
You know, and I'd be going through the pain of getting new cars and new driver's license, you know. And it just goes back of like, okay, how the type of person who I want to be, the vision of the Chris I want to be, how is he going to respond? How should he be responding in that moment?
Right.
And you take that to relationships, your kids, your spouse, and your friends too, right? It's not easy.
No, it's not. And it's again, it goes back to I said this earlier, and I've learned this language from Bob Turner, good friend of ours.
Yeah.
Is, you know, what's the standard that I want to hold for how I behave, how I carry myself, and the more aware of that I am, you know, you can say like what you just said is, you know, freaking out, it's not going to help me find my wallet.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, too, you have a standard where you don't allow that horse to run away from you. You know what I mean? You get to check it.
Yeah.
And I know, you know, you served active duty, you served, you know, police, and I'm sure there's a lot of times where you trained and you learned emotions aren't going to serve me right here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and so Steve Rozenberg, he taught us years ago, and you and I have probably heard him say this 1,000 times about the dance and the training and all the things that he as an airline pilot has learned. And for me, it was going through that and realizing, okay, every situation I go through in my life, in my business, and whatever, it's not that unique.
Yeah.
You know, there's some aspect of it that I can apply lessons that I've learned before, or I can try and be mindful of it before we get in those situations.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's you know, now when my daughter starts dating,
oh, goodness.
I can't even go there now.
Yeah, I know, right?
All jokes.
She'll start dating when she's 30. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
She's focused on other things.
She wants to date now. She's 11. I'm like, no, baby.
Oh, goodness. Good
you are my
that.
daughter.
Well, you got a few years to work on that.
I know. But it's, you know, all jokes aside, it's trying to, it's you know, it's kind of like you don't want to waste the shit that you went through and what you had an opportunity to grow from that.
Good point. Yeah, very good.
Because what I went through has given me a capacity to hold a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot more pressure, a lot more stress.
To, right? Like,
but it is a choice, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Great. I'm glad you said that. There's a guy here today who he also went through a business bankruptcy around the same time I did.
Yeah.
And he's killing it now.
Yeah.
Someone stole $1 million from him and he lost his business.
Wow.
Just completely cut him out. He had to go through business and personal bankruptcy. And now he's doing better than he's ever done.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fantastic.
And it's because he chose to allow that to hold him.
Yeah.
I know multiple guys who've gone through the same thing and just allowed it to ruin their lives. I know a guy who shortly before I lost my business, he was losing his business and he made an ultimate decision on a job site.
Wow.
And it's just like, okay, different people handle different situations. I don't know what's going on in his head, whatever, but it's like, okay, I'm responsible for my decisions and I need to allow that pressure, that stress, that opportunity to learn to make me the strongest I can be now.
Yeah. And I feel, you know, on the spiritual side, God puts us in those scenarios because he's trying to mold us into something better. And like, hey, I want you to be this person. I'm going to put you through this and you need to learn and mold. But he also gives us that that spiritual power of choice.
For sure.
So either we play victim or we use it as a learning opportunity, right?
Well, and here's the next level above that I've been paying attention to and noticing. You and I have had a lot of conversations about this. You and I both have really big dreams.
Yeah.
Big dreams.
Yeah.
We don't think small. We think big.
Right.
In order to be the man that is responsible for that big thing, you're going to have to hold and be tested to say, yes, I get to hold this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Agreed.
and so
Yep.
it's just even recognizing that, okay, there's things that I desire for myself, for my relationship with my wife, my kids, with my body.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to be fit at 65, I got to suffer every day in the gym.
Yeah.
For the next 25 years.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to be responsible for 50 people who work for me, 100 people who work for me, then I need to be so accountable for the decisions I make for myself now.
Yeah.
And not just when I'm standing in front of people and I'm being professional, but when I'm in front of my wife, when I'm in front of my kids, when I'm by myself.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And so like the level of the pressure and the opportunity for failure and the actual failures that I go through are matched to the level of the goals that I want to achieve in my life.
Yep, agreed.
You know?
Agreed, yeah.
Because you and I want to know when we're standing at that level and we're shaking each other's hands at you know, even to the point of where we are right now.
Yeah.
We're respecting the fact that, man, you went through a lot of shit to get here.
Yeah.
And look at all those successes, look at all those trials,
Right.
and look at everything you brought to be where you are right now.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, agreed. Man, this can go on for a while, man.
I know.
We should do a part 2 of this.
For sure.
But anyway, I know there's other classes and stuff going on. I just want to just tell you how much I value you, man, as a person.
Thank you.
Everything that you've been through. You know, you're going through your hard times, and there was times where gosh, do I give him his space? Do I reach out? And we've had a few conversations, and I knew you were going through a really hard time. But to see you come through on the other side, it's admirable. Yeah, man, it's just I have a high respect for who you are and
Appreciate
how you handled
Chris.
everything, man. And I know you're a better person for it.
Thank you. And you've been someone throughout that whole process where I you were stable and consistent, and you were there. There were multiple times where I'd called to vent, you know, where I was just like, fuck all of this. And you're like, fuck it, you're right, let it happen, you know? I'm still on the call.
Yeah, yeah.
What else you wanted to say?
Yeah.
And just you were there for me, and even just to be there for me when I start dreaming again.
Yeah.
And just asking great questions and saying, well, how are you going to implement that? What's the next step there? And just allowing you to bring your magic to my world, and I appreciate that. Thank you, Chris.
My pleasure, man.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the friendship and the relationship.
For sure. Yeah,
I
man.
know we're going to collaborate more and hopefully do business together and make a big impact in this industry. And
for the rest of our lives. Let's do it.
Outstanding, man. Thanks again for joining me on the Caffeinated Contractor, man.
All right. Thanks, Chris.